All we're betting basketball. Hello, that was, of course, Curtis. Blow your wad at the sports book. I am Joel Walkowski. I'm coming to you on the Props Network streaming platforms. Maybe you're on YouTube, maybe you're on Twitch, but I know you're watching on the Props Network, which is the number one resource for the hip and informed gambler. You think any of those Barstool guys can get you Molly and Bushwick? I don't think so. That's why we got the right folks working over at the Props Network. So I am Joe Walkowski, New York City street ball legend, and every single weekday, within reason, I will be giving out my NBA picks on the year. And we had a rough start Monday. Maybe I was a little too excited going to the Kangol store, getting invited to run a little pickup. But yesterday, you know what? It was easy. Sometimes I'll run a little statistical analysis, look up the injury reports. But yesterday, bing, 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 bing. All the lines just came to me. We went 3-1 on the early slate. We had a thrilling Celtics cover. We had the Miami Heat get blown out of the gym by the Milwaukee Bucks. The Bucks made the statement they needed to. Thank you, Giannis. I'm going to get some. I couldn't think of a Greek food right there. So no reference for you guys. And then I was unfortunately right again about my Detroit Pistons going down by more than 4 points to the Golden State Warriors. You saw those highlights all over Reddit. You saw James Wiseman channeling Giannis Antetokounmpo a bit. And if you watch the game closely, like any Pistons game, you saw a team that's tanking. There's some things I like. I was maybe in a heated Pistons group chat just before I came on this show. But yeah, it's really fun to see them kind of rejigger the rotation on the fly in order to lose. I was wrong about the Knicks yesterday. You got in the comments, you clowned on me. And really, I called the Knicks awful. Yeah, I stand by that. I've seen nothing to change my opinion. I like Julius Randle. He lives in an all-white house, and he's a muse for me and my friend group. We talk about Julius Randle the way people talk about David Bowie or maybe Taylor Swift or Lady Gaga. He is our cultural monolith. We care too much because we're sociopaths. But anyway, I was wrong on the Knicks, but still, the Cavaliers, I mean, it wasn't about the Knicks are bad. It was about the Cavaliers are intriguing, and I stand by that for sure. When they were down 15 with 3 minutes left, I saw a spark from that team. I'm seeing a backcourt play better than I ever anticipated. And yeah, maybe there's going to be value in Cleveland over the season. And like we predicted, we were up. So we threw it on to the Phoenix Suns against the New Orleans Pelicans last night. That was a blowout. We also won our Alamo Bowl bet. Well, at least the first half of it, because if you listen to the walk-on, which was one of my favorite episodes ever, we ran through all the bowl games. I gave out a Texas and, San Jose State parlay, and it's looking pretty good. I'm feeling confident and fresh off the 4-1. I'm ready to give my NBA picks again. This is a tough slate. Probably the biggest game on the marquee is the competitive Atlanta Hawks facing a Brooklyn Nets team that looked like a title threat right out of the gate, and they're suddenly struggling. I think that's a good line. It's, you might want to shop on the Props Network because we do have pretty good live line comparisons. We have good odds comparisons, but you're seeing this one around 7 to 8. And for a Nets team that's struggling, I think that's a good line for it. That's fair. I give into it. If you really want this juice, if you really want to have fun with this game, I think just imagining the matchup, it feels like Trae Young and Kyrie Irving will bring out the best in each other. They're very similar. They're performative players. They're undersized, and you're more likely to see them imitated at a playground than invoked in any sabermetric conversation. So there's a flashiness to them. And I think it's kind of just like, if the two greatest, like, soloist saxophone players. They're both performing at the same jazz club on the same night. They're going to push each other further. So BetMGM, our good friend, the official sports book of the Detroit Lions and Jamie Foxx. Fun fact, both Jamie Foxx and the Detroit Lions have the same amount of Super Bowls. So BetMGM, they have a line on this one, plus 225. Will Kyrie Irving and Trae Young both score 30 points? Boom. I like that. Good numbers, good juice, and that's a fun way to watch this game. So yesterday we were right about the Milwaukee Bucks dusting the Miami Heat. They were up about 30 the entire game. I saw the statement I needed to, but there's a fluke in the NBA schedule. There's a lot of back-to-backs. We saw it with the Kings and Nuggets last week. We saw it with, the Kings and Suns last week. We saw it with the Pacers and Celtics early this week. And there's been tremendous value on backing the team that loses in the second night of the back-to-back. And I know, we just saw them lose by 30, but the fact is it's a back-to-back, even off their long protracted postseason run. The Heat rotation is slightly deeper than the Milwaukee Bucks. The Bucks, I'm not sure who their 7, 8, 9 guys are as of now. So on a back-to-back, after being embarrassed, I think it's pretty clear you want to support the Miami Heat, and they're getting 6 points. Screw that. I'm taking the money line here, plus 210, and I'm actually going to tie it to the Brooklyn Nets money line and make it a plus 290 wager. The Nets have dropped 2 straight winnable games. The Heat just got embarrassed, and you're going to see some rest from the Milwaukee Bucks rotation. Meanwhile, when the Heat are forced to play more guys, they're trotting out guys like, oh, geez, I just had a brain fart. Myers Leonard, who swung playoff games in the past. They're trotting out tough-minded defenders. They're giving Kedrick Nunn more run. They still have like Duncan Robinson and Tyler Hero as just like guys who can impact the game offensively without really straining their body. So yeah, on a back-to-back, plus 290, $10 flyer. I love it. Great value there. Now we're kind of getting screwed here by some injury reports. There's a Lakers Spurs game that I'm attracted to. It's a 5-point line because LeBron James, it's not only his birthday, he's questionable with a calf injury. And it's the sort of matchup that Anthony Davis could win on his own. But if a LeBron team has anything in the injury report, I've had a terrible track record in the past. Generally speaking, LeBron is a tough guy to bet on. I don't think there's an athlete who's lost me more money than LeBron James. So given the injury, even though the line is appealing, I am staying away. And, I do think that sometimes with basketball, the best bets are the least glamorous. Every NBA fan spent the last 6 months talking about Luka Doncic. This chubby European boy hasn't gotten this much attention since Augustus Gloop went for a sip of a drink in the chocolate river at Willy Wonka's factory and got sucked up into a tube. And just like he got sucked up into a tube, every NBA fan got sucked into the Luka hype. And the Mavs are being treated by Vegas like they're a title contender. And that's fine. Luka's a great player, but the fact is Porzingis is not yet back. And they've got Josh Richardson. He's questionable with a calf injury. So you're telling me that the Hornets, they're playing the Mavericks, and the Mavericks are missing 2 of their 4 most important players? What's the line on this? Is it maybe Mavericks minus 5.5? It's probably a 4-point game, but Luka's a superstar. Maybe he's worth a 1.5. No, this is an 8-point spread for the Hornets. And that's because the Mavs are now a public team. No one cares about the Hornets. And the Hornets, they've covered this every game of the season. They've lost by 1, they've won, they've lost by 7. They've been close in every single game. And if you're out 2 rotation pieces against him, I think that's where the strength of this Hornets roster gets you. There's these athletic, interchangeable wings. You got Graham is just a great offensive threat. Hayward is kind of playing some good basketball. Terry Rozier, who on the Mavericks is going to like go off ball, guard Terry Rozier beyond the arc. I mean, it's just a deep team. Like, it's like every person in the Hornets rotation would be a good fourth man in an NBA rotation, and getting 8 points when I've seen a track record of competency, when I've seen the Mavericks just kind of be overvalued by the big books. I love the Hornets here. It's not a sexy pick, but it is my pick. And let's just talk about a couple of the other games on the slate. Man, the Celtics are 6.5-point favorites, hosting the Memphis Grizzlies without Ja Morant. Thankfully, Ja avoided major injury in Brooklyn the other night. But it's a Celtics team on, their 4th game in 3 nights. It's a Grizzly team missing their number 1 creator. All-time stay away. Absolutely. And if we're feeling cheeky, I do like betting on the NBA during weeknights, because if you're doing well, you can roll it over onto the 10 o'clock slate. If you're doing bad, you can chase on the 10 o'clock slate. It's very neatly segmented for you to kind of organize your bets. So let's look at the 10 o'clock flyer category. We have the LA Clippers. They're hosting the Portland Trailblazers. And Kawhi Leonard, he got injured by his teammate, Serge Ibaka. He could be out. We don't really know yet. It could be a week or 2. It could be 4 to 6 weeks if he gets the Kanye surgery. Imagine how funny would it be if Kawhi Leonard has to get his mouth wired shut. Oh, that's the most beautiful piece of irony I have ever come across in my life. But yeah, it's 2.5 points. The Clippers, they got embarrassed. They gave up. They were down 77-27 versus the Dallas Mavericks, who were pretty thin still at half on Sunday. They've had 3 days to bounce back. They've been embarrassed. Paul George has accepted accountability, and these guys hate each other. So, yeah, Paul George, after that come to Jesus moment, it's not the playoffs. I do think there's probably an iota of value in the Clippers here. I don't really want to touch this one, but if you're feeling feisty at the day's end, that's where I like it. So I like the Hornets +8. That's my favorite pick. In that game, you can take LaMelo Ball minus 8.5 points at minus 140 odds. That's not even an anti-Melo bet. That's just like Melo isn't really a scorer. He's more of a, full-fledged basketball player, and scoring isn't his go-to, especially for like his 4th game in the league. So yeah, I like the minus 8.5 there. And then just for fun, I will be backing the Nets and Heat money line parlay. So those are my picks for tonight. I'm not counting the player bets in my season record. So to date right now, I am 4-3. We were off on Christmas, but I will say I went 3-0 on Whiskey Basketball Day. It was a Whiskey Basketball Day miracle. And, maybe we'll count it. We will consult with the Guinness Book of World Records, because they are following me, because they wanted to figure out who was going to set the record for best NBA season-long handicapping track record. They thought I was a good candidate. Okay, so we had fun today. I think the slate's going to be a little juicier tomorrow. I'm sorry if you guys are hanging out and you're like, yeah, there is value in the Hornets. There's like a lot of, if you got versatile swing men scoring points, you can actually stack up better to a limited rotation. No, that's not fun. But tomorrow there will be fun. Thursday there will be fun. And Friday, hopefully they'll give me off for New Year's Day.
We'll see.
We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. I don't know. It's a big sports day.
Yeah, and we did so good covering those bowl games yesterday.
You did. We got a ton of clips coming out on the Props Network YouTube channel over the next few days from that show. You can also watch the full show of our college football Wild Wednesday picks with Eli Sayers, which was fantastic.
Eli was
And
great. Donnie was in for Brian.
yeah, and a quick note for you, Joel. We had a little screen sharing issue during these NBA picks, so we couldn't see the lines. But if you want the latest lines and track all the movement on all the spreads, the odds, over, unders, and money lines for NBA and all the other sports, you can do that on thepropsnetwork.com. You go to www.thepropsnetwork.com/NBA, and you'll see our NBA page there.
Beautiful, man. I love doing these solo shows. I mean,
you're nailing it. I got a question for you though. I have a basketball betting question for you. Okay. So as you were talking, you're making your picks. I went to DraftKings Sportsbook and I see one thing I've never done in all my years of betting. I've never done a basketball teaser.
Oh, basketball teaser.
What's the strategy? I mean, it's less point. While it's less points than a football teaser, even though I see they do have a sweetheart 7-point basketball teaser on DraftKings as an option, do you find it's a good way to grab value on some of these games like it is with football?
No, I'm opposed to the basketball teaser simply because basketball has a great degree of variance. I mean, it's similar to baseball where it's just like want like a set return of a highly coordinated activity where it's just not going to be the same every night. There's too many factors at play. And if you really want an advantage, like I just don't see why you would take an NBA teaser when the props markets are so viable.
Yeah.
Like a lot of times, like, I like to research props more than I like to play them just because it's not as easy to track. You can't go on your phone and get an alert about Devontae Graham over unders. Maybe you should work on that. But, I think maybe you can kind of always like I just do a money line parlay if you're going to do a teaser. Okay. That's where the value is. Basketball, like a big favorite is usually still only like minus 220, minus 300. So there's decent multipliers there. That doesn't make sense to do a teaser. The money line parlay is like just such a better option for me. And what are the odds on a 2-team 4-point teaser?
So I have, let's see, here's a 2-team 4-point teaser. If I teased the Hawks and Grizzlies tonight, just picked those two randomly.
That's actually, yeah.
4-point teaser is on DraftKings. They do teaser plus. So it's plus 128, 4.5 plus 118, 5-point teaser. You're still getting plus money on those at plus 109.
Yeah. And I could see that being an advantage with like unpopular teams against high profile teams. Maybe that's the place to play it. If like, say, if Cleveland was playing Indiana and getting 9 points tonight, I would maybe tease Cleveland and the Hornets, get them both to like 12 or 13. But in general, the free throws at the end of the game, like you have to realize you're going against that at any point because basketball, like you bet it waiting for the other shoe to drop. You can get annihilated just with the most random things at the end of an outcome. So I don't know. I like a teaser better in football when you can actually see a winner. You can know the stakes. Yeah. And NBA, there's just so many moving pieces where if anything more than the money line is no good in my book.
Well, the key numbers are more clear in football, right?
Like, yeah, and
you can use teasers to get across a key number.
Yeah, and like teasers, they make a lot of sense if you're doing underdogs. I don't see the point. All of my fears, they're coming into play because I'm viewing this from the point of view of favorites. Mm-hmm. And, maybe I don't know why you would want to tie two underdogs together in a superstar league.
I don't know. Okay, well, I'm sold. I will not be playing basketball teasers. I will continue avoiding them as a betting option.
I love the basketball money line parlay with favorites. I love picking one favorite and tying it to all my bets as a sweetener. Like there's other options that I think have better payouts that you don't need to do a teaser. I mean, if you like the Hornets tonight and you tie it to the Nets money line, which I think is the safest money line out there, what are the odds on that?
The Hornets against the spread in the Nets money line?
Yeah.
That would be, I got that right here for you. A parlay on that would be plus 175.
See, better price. And then you can even buy a couple points right there in to like buy it up to 9 or something. And you're still getting a better payout than you would for the teaser.
Yeah. And for those of you that play at DraftKings, when you buy points, it's not like other sports books. You actually have to go to the alternate point spreads and pick that line. That you can't just adjust it on your bet slip like you can with others. But that is an option.
So annoying.
It is, yeah. But at least you see the odds on every possibility right there. You don't have to have to test them.
But it's tough. Do you bet on your phone or your laptop?
Depends if I'm pooping or not.
I mean, you wanted more info from the lines today. I didn't give you much. I took some psyllium husk yesterday, so I wasn't prepping for very long.
I've been down the psyllium husk highway. Yeah, that's yeah. But no, I probably more often bet on my phone.
Okay, fair enough. I think I have a better track record from the computer. Phone, it's those flipping bets, they'll get you.
Yeah, I make a lot of dumb 8-leg parlays on my phone, I think. But okay, so I think you sold me on some strategy there. I think I can, like I said, I'll continue avoiding teasers. I'll think more about moneyline parlays in basketball. Using that to my advantage.
And do I get to count the 3 bets I made before we started?
On your season record, you mean?
Yeah.
No, if they're not published, they don't exist.
Dang. and we don't count the player props. Player props, they're a different category altogether.
Yeah.
And again, I feel pretty good about this Hornets pick.
Yeah, I'll be on that one. I thank you for that one. I'll be on that one. I like that.
Could not be less sexy. The Mavericks, they're just overvalued. And let's see, the last 3 times they played. February 6th, Mavericks won by 16, whatever. January 4th, 3-point Hornets victory. February, time before that, 6-point Mavericks victory. Mavericks have just been very competent. And since no one cares about them so much outside of people on Instagram discussing a Ball brother, there's going to be a lot of value in them all season long. So yeah, all these crappy teams are pretty good. There's only one crappy team, truly, and they're in the great city of Detroit. You love to see it. It's exactly what I wanted. Season could not be off to a better start. And let's just take a quick preview to tomorrow. Okay, so today we got screwed, actually. I know I'm going long, but you're going to use the clips anyway. And if you're still with us now, you rule. Yeah, tomorrow is where it's at. We've got day games, 3:00 Cleveland at Pacers, 5:00 Bulls at Wizards, 6:30 Sixers at the undefeated Magic, the Markelle Fultz Bowl. And then, yeah, I mean, the slate goes on and on. We're going to have a hoot tomorrow, and I will talk to you guys then. For the Props Network, for my buddy Sam, this is Joel Wachowski giving you the NBA picks on your screen. Later, fellas. This is Joel Wachowski walking off.